Well, good morning, folks. Here we go, back again. I'm really sorry about the sound, folks. I can see sometimes that my sound is just not where I want it to be. So please forgive me for the quality of the sound if it's a little light on your end. I hope you can crank it up where you can hear it. So I am very sorry about that. I'm trying my best to stay on the mic. I think what I'm going to have to eventually do is get myself one of those, I forget what you call them, get myself a mic that I can actually say pin on my collar so it'll stay, like right near my mouth so that when I'm, um, you know, talking, you'll hear me. so yeah, I do apologize about that. Let me check something here. Ding, ding. Aha, I thought so. Look at that. You sneaky little bugger. One frame with the wrong color. Look at that. Shirt's purple. Shirt's blue. Shirt's purple. Look at that. All right, let's go back and fix it. So let's see. That should be, it should be this color. Paint bucket. Let's see. Should be. Why is it not doing? Oh, it's going behind it. Well, that means then we're going to have to fill in front. Fill inside. Let's see if that works. Well, yeah, yes and no. Let's try this again. Fill inside, fill in front. Let's see what that does. Doggone it. This is what happens when you make a mistake like that. It costs you. Well, all right, then I know what that means. That means that we have got to go back and draw lines where lines don't exist. So let's see then. That means we've got to, first of all, make this bigger. Then what? Then we need to, well, let's see. We can do this. We can move this up. Okay, then we're gonna use the black line on top. Now we've got to go in here and we have got to guess. So we got to sketch that. And we've got to invent a line that we cannot see because we can't, because we don't have there's no thing in Rough Animator that I'm aware of that will say unpaint. There is, on Storyboard Pro does have a function called unpaint, where let's say if you painted something the wrong color, it will unpaint that area. It'll recognize, okay, you want to change this color, unpaint. Now, like normally, if you painted something wrong in a sequence, you would do undo, right? The undo would give you that. All right, so I just fixed this now. So you'll see we got the color should be correct. Yeah. All the way through. Let's make sure. Yes, it is. But what I had to do here was I had to literally go right over the top of the artwork in order to get it to put the line where it needed to go. But anyway, I corrected it. And I was looking at this the other night. I said, "Wait a minute! I said, something's wrong here." But it shows it's cool because it means I could see 1/12 of a second easier than I could see 1/24 because this is on twos. Ones would be harder to see. That would be 1/24 of a second if you could see something flutter on ones and that's wrong. you could see it 124. And I can see that too. I've seen that in scenes I've done. But it is a little harder to see because, well, it's just harder to see because it's going by a lot faster. So anyway, but if you do something on twos, then you're looking at it at 1/24 of a second, and it's a little, or I'm sorry, 1/12 of a second. So then it's a little easier to deal with. All right, we put another layer on. So we just got a few more frames here to paint in. Let's see, what are we doing? 200. I'll say 200%. And okay. Yeah. See what I mean though about, you can make a mistake. We make mistakes. Now, like I said, one of the things that I love about animation is in some ways it's kind of forgiving. The mistakes you make, may be aware of them, but sometimes the public just isn't. And like I say, we've seen, I think with the story I told you last time about the folks at Disney who were like going back over the old movies and picking out mistakes. Even in something as, say, meticulously and carefully done as an old Disney feature, you would still have mistakes. But you don't really want to make a big deal about something like that because you're looking at the bigger picture. Is it a good story? Are you engaged in what's going on? That's really what the deal is. It isn't about whether, oh, gee, that guy didn't get that in between in the right place. It's only those of us who work in the business that really have an understanding of all of that. I'm going to try something here. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to see if this will work. I'm going to try holding the microphone. Let's see if that's better. That might be better. Yeah, so far so good. Anyways, yeah, we'll do that. You live and you learn, huh? So, yeah. The nice thing about this now, I realize, is that one of the things I figured out that I noticed right away when I first started animating digitally was that you only use one hand when you're animating digitally, because everything you're doing with that one hand, whereas in real animation in the old days, you flip the drawings with your left hand, and you drew with your right, or depending on whether you were left-handed or right-handed. Obviously if you're left-handed, then I guess you'd be drawing with your left hand and flipping with your right hand, whatever. You were flipping with the hand that you weren't drawing with. And when I started doing the digital stuff, it was very awkward to me because I thought, oh, shit, I don't know what to do with my other hand, But, I quickly adapted to it, but I still must say that at times I do find myself wanting to use my other hand now. If I'm working in a certain type of program where I might do something with my other hand, like, I say may use a keyboard and do a keyboard shortcut, well, then that would be where the other hand would come in. But generally speaking, what I've noticed with working digitally is that, generally speaking, you can do pretty much everything with just one hand, that you don't necessarily need to use both your hands. But, once again, it depends. It depends on what you want to do, how you want to work. But I can do this one-handed, and I'm fine with that. So, well, since I'm on the mic here, you all should be able to hear me just fine. Of course, I still may end up at some point getting one of those. See here, is it behind or front? Oh, behind. I still may end up getting one of those. What am I trying to say? One of those. One of those microphones that fits on your collar. That's what I'm trying to say. So I still may do that. Boy, I sure am glad I'm using this Line tool. I don't know what's the matter with me. You know how I found out about the line tool? From one of my students. I thought that was funny. But that's what I like about learning is that you can always learn no matter how old you are. You can learn something from somebody. And it's like, even though my student taught me, she just said, "Oh, you can use this is a line tool," she said. And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Wow, how cool is that?" I don't have an ego about it. It's like, that's good. That helped me. Hey, never look a gift horse in the mouth. If it ain't, whoops, oh, that's wrong. I must still have let's see, back up. Yeah, it should be Phil's behind. Okay, Phil's behind. There we go. Phil's behind. Da-da-da-da. There's his tummy. Lips are the dark brown or the medium brown. There's the shirt. Dink, dink, dink. Underneath shirt. There. Pants. Let's just go back and look. Yeah, I think pants are here. That's the pants. There's the sneakers. So you're painting stuff we can't see, Leonard, because it's just about, yeah, you're right. You can't see that because it's behind my image. Let's see. There we go. Red on the paint there. Okay. So let's go. Let's do a save. Okay, fit the window. There. Play. There we go. Da 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 da. Boy, we are almost done with this scene. Look at that. I like this scene. This is maybe one of the best scenes I've done in this whole sequence of action. It's coming along nicely. Wow. Very happy with that. Okay. So we'll go back to fit the window. Okay, we'll add another frame here. Add after. Okay. Let's see. Do I want to make that bigger or no? I can make it a little bigger. Let's see. We'll go up to 175. Move him over there so we can see him. Black line on everything. Yay. There we go. Is it behind? Oh, it's in front. Let's change that so we don't run into that problem later. Okay. Gosh, I love clean lines. I really do. But it is tricky though. It is tricky because it's, but you just make be the lines the best you can, because, the audience may or may not see your mistakes. They might see them, they might not, but I don't know that anybody really cares. I don't know. I don't think they do. I think people care more about the story they're watching. Another thing that really is interesting to me about not just animation, but just about what's being made today in terms of films, everything really, is the fact that a story, in my opinion, and I'll just say this is in my opinion, but I believe it to be true, is an experience. What do I mean by that? I mean exactly what it sounds like. It's an experience. A film, a story, a movie, when you go, it's an experience. Why do things affect us the way they do? If you stop and think about it, let's say you see a movie you really like. For me, Star Wars, I really loved Star Wars, and I still love Star Wars. Despite what's been going on with it, I still love it. But it's an experience. Or Lord of the Rings, it's an experience. It's not just it is a movie, but to me it's an experience. And if I like it, then that means it's a good experience. Okay. And we take these things with us. After we've left the theater, we take that experience with us. And hopefully it was a good experience. I mean, there's all kinds of experiences that you can have when you go to see a movie. Um, but, when you come out of the movie and someone asks you, was it good? What do you say? Well, usually you say, if you liked it, you say, yeah, that was a great movie. But I think a lot of times what's really happening there is you're saying you had a great time. You had a good time. You enjoyed that experience, right? And this is why fresh ideas that are good, or just fresh ideas, period, are, I think, very important to an audience. I think that these sequels that Hollywood pushes on us, I understand why they're made. I was a producer director myself, so I understand why they make these things. They make these things because it's easy. Because if a movie makes a jillion bucks, the easiest thing you can do is copy it. Right? The old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, it is kind of true. And, yeah, you copy it. Why? Well, it's easy. You don't have to work as hard. Yeah, that's what it comes. That's what it is. You might not want to admit that, but in reality, that is exactly, I believe, what it is it's easier. But the experience, the reason that I'm coming back to talking about an experience is because I think it's a bad idea to screw with people's experiences. Let me define that. We connect with these characters. We connect with personalities. We do. We love them. We love them. We hate them, or whatever, because it's an experience. So if we if a company takes an experience that we've had and they mess with it, they screw with it, they change it, they don't. Did I not? Oh no, that's not there. Okay, let's see. Hold up. Boom. Oh, I see. I covered it there. Maybe I shouldn't have. Let's see. What do we got there? Oh yeah. See, one frame. Well, let's do this then. Okay, so I didn't put his belly in there. Let's see. Are we behind or front? Let's see if we go there. Right. Then I'd say let's do this. Let's do that. Dink, dink, dink. Probably a little more there. Let's go. Let's see if I don't go backwards. It won't go backwards. So I don't think. I don't know what it's doing. All right. Well, then let's do this. Yeah. Because it only goes undo on the last move. So I don't know what I would have been doing there. Okay. Black. I would say let's drop it down to here. Put the belly button there. Now let's play it. Y'all can't see that. I can see it anyway. What I did was there was a drawing of his belly that I didn't put in, and then I just saw it and I put it in there. All right, so let's see. Okay, Phil's behind. That would go in here. All right, great. Anyways, I was talking about, what was I talking about? I was talking about experience. So, we identify with a character, and we love a movie, and we love the experience that we have. We love how we feel when we come out of the movie. When Hollywood just repeats something, when they make a sequel and they repeat the same idea over and over again, what happens is they're not giving us something fresh, which is obvious, but they're also not giving the audience a real good experience. And even more importantly, let's say they are changing the story, as a lot of companies have done, Disney in particular, where they go back and they remake something that they have already made that was already good, in an attempt to try to change your mentality about the story. Bad idea, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's just me. And opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one. So here's mine. um, Everything that messes with a person's experience is a bad idea, in my opinion. And that's everything from the company that makes the project and doesn't respect it, to the celebrities and actors who are in the project and don't respect it. So all of that is not a good idea. And it's not a good idea because the audience identifies with the experience. And if you're a part of that experience, they're going to be affected either positively or negatively. And then it's up to the powers that be and the people involved, and you know who you are, whether or not that, whether or not you negatively or positively affect the project that you've worked on. Why am I saying what I'm saying? I'm saying what I'm saying because I care about Hollywood. I care about the quality of what we do. I'm a retired guy, okay? So I suppose I shouldn't really have that much of a dog in the fight, and I really kind of, in that some sense, do, in some sense don't, but mostly don't. I say this because I care about Hollywood, or I care about the industry, and I care about entertainment. And I think it's a mistake to shoot yourself in the foot. That's what I think. Now, for all of us who are independent filmmakers, students, teachers, retired people, all of us, most of the time we have ideas and things we want to do that are fresh, that are new, untried, and Hollywood is very, very sensible in the fact that they'll say, well, we don't want to try something that's untried, that's new, and we don't know whether or not it's going to be any good or people are going to like it. Okay, I understand that. I get that, and I respect it. It's an understanding that, well, they're going to be putting probably hundreds of millions of dollars into a project. So it's only natural that they're going to want to ensure that they're going to make a return on what their expenditure. That's just good business. However, you cannot predict. Let's see, got the wrong color. It should be black. You cannot predict success. You cannot be certain of success in any spectrum, really. I think what you do is you do something that you feel very strongly about. I think you speak honestly from a position of life experience. And I think you're true to yourself as an artist. At least that's what I think most of us artists do. We do that anyway, And you let the chips fall where they may. You hope that maybe you're saying something that is something that will resonate with people, And sometimes it resonates with people and sometimes it doesn't. Or sometimes it doesn't resonate with them right now. Sometimes your idea is ahead of itself. I don't know how many times Disney created things that were ahead of their time. Fantasia, for instance, I believe would have been considered ahead of its time. It became more popular as time went along. So I think you gotta, as an artist, you really are kind of making things that you think are good, but you're trying to be as honest about the story that you want to tell. And you just got to take a chance, and you got to hope that you're doing something pretty good. There's certain rules you're going to follow that hopefully, everything's going to work out. You hope. You don't know. because you don't have a crystal ball, or, well, I don't believe in crystal balls, but you know what I mean. You can't see into the future, so you don't really know how something's going to go. But I guess if you worried about that all the time, you'd never make anything now, would you? So, but I do believe that every single person, particularly every single artist, specifically artists and people who have something to say, I think we all have very unique life experiences that I think are interesting, and we all love stories. Stories are very powerful, as Tyrion Lannister said in the ends. I think it was the last episode of Game of Thrones, and I thought that was beautifully said. Stories are powerful, and it's true, they are. So, all I'm saying is, Hollywood, please don't keep killing yourself by shooting yourself in the foot and taking away the beauty of the things that have already been created that work for the sake of money or an agenda. Remember, the audience votes with their dollars. In Hollywood, you have made entertainment so expensive that people are not going to spend their money on something that's not worth it to them. They're just not sensible people anyway. They're just not going to do that. And it's too expensive. I mean, I've got 3 daughters, a wife. If we go to the movies, I might be out of, several $100s to see a movie, So it damn well better be a freaking good movie. Why would I want to go and spend a ton of money on something that's no good? Right? But, like I just said, there's no way you can be certain anything is going to be good, really. That's true. You really don't know. You hope it's going to be good, but you don't really know if it will be. And that's true. You really don't. But, somewhere along the line, you've got to use some common sense. But I definitely don't think it makes any sense to destroy something that you've got that was already working. And this is where I think Hollywood has made its biggest mistake, is that's what's happened, is that they have, sadly, I think, done that. I don't know whether they've done it on purpose or what. I do believe that to some degree they've had an agenda, which is probably factored into why, but it's unfortunate. So, anyway, that's my I'm preaching. All right, that's just my my take, my opinion. Like I said, opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one. So, yeah. So, my opinion is not any less valid than anybody else's opinion, but if that's any way helpful, then good. If it's not, ignore it. My name is not on the outside of Walt Disney Company. It's Walt Disney, and even Walt Disney's not really to blame for even his company anymore, because he's not available, as we would say in this business. He's not available, which is true. He's not around. I doubt seriously that Mr. Disney himself, were he alive, be condoning the conduct of his company at this point, but that's another whole conversation. And once again, it's an opinion, and opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one. Well, we are getting close to the end of the scene. It's almost done. Yeah, I think we got 2 more drawings to color. So, all right, we're at 29 minutes, so I want to bring this to a stop. So, any whoosies, hey, it's good you guys came along with me. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. These demos are not only for me to just ramble, but they're also for your benefit in the step-by-step process of making your own film. If you do have questions or comments about anything, feel free to put them in the comment section, and I will try to respond to them. Have a beautiful day. Thank God for the goodness that He's brought life into your body and the free moral agency you have to decide to follow Him or not. That's a great gift in and of itself. But nevertheless, remember, Jesus is Lord.